must be really pleased with that and the step that the car and the team seem to have made.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, really unexpected. The car felt alive. We got the tyres in the right window. You know, the team have been doing an amazing job to get the most out of his car. We haven't brought any upgrades since Bahrain. And we've seen the progress we've made across these. So I'm out of breath and just sprinted down here. So compared to the first two races, so you know that's really exciting because we know we've got more in the locker to come. I'm feeling really comfortable in the car, really happy with the feeling, and getting the most out of it on these qualifying sessions.
So for people watching, if you haven't brought any updates, how are you able to get more performance out of the car? And if it's not completely track specific, because this is quite similar to Jeddah, how have you been able to do that?
I mean, there's so much you can do with the setups. You know, how soft or stiff you run the car, the ride heights you run it at, the mechanical balance, getting the most out of the tyres, changing tyre pressures, faster out laps, slower out laps. And when you maximise everything together, you know, you're able to make a big jump. And I think this is what this team does best, is really developing over the course of the year, even with the same package as what they've always had. So yeah, pretty happy.
The race tomorrow is a different beast, as we well know.
Yeah.
How do you stop Max winning this race tomorrow? What can you do? Can you work as a team? Is it purely, I mean, is their pace just too much for you? How can you do that tomorrow?
No idea, to be honest. You know, we're talking about this session as if we are very close to Max, who are still almost 3 tenths behind him. Wow, I'm just seeing this massive fire
it's
in
a bit late at the moment.
Oh, bugger. Is he out? I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
I can smell the smoke from just over there. Yeah, it's going to be really challenging. You know, I think he's going to have more pace in the race than he had in qualifying today. So we're probably looking at a half a second delta on a good day, probably 7-8 tenths realistically. So it doesn't really matter what we do. I think he's going to have the upper hand.
All right, we'll go well tomorrow. Well done today. Thanks, George.
So there we go. Well, he does well. I always think